Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome back to round 5 of our F1 2001 career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. If you missed out on the last video that went live from Monte Carlo, I would highly recommend going back and check it out. It's safe to say this McLaren car is absolutely coming alive at the moment. 2 wins in a row for myself and of course an extra one for David Coulthard in Bahrain means that this team now has won 3/4 of the races so far this campaign. We're the only driver to have finished all 4 Grand Prix. I think that is a little bit more to do with this mod than anything else, but we have now got a 26-point buffer over Jacques Villeneuve in the championship. He was admittedly quite unlucky in Monaco, was following Marc Genet towards the finish before, annoyingly for him, Genet stacked it and Jacques had nowhere to go there. But as we make, we're a quarter of the way through this season already, things are looking very, very good for ourselves. Of course, not long left of 2024, but obviously, we're getting closer and closer. I'm recording this a month in advance. Hopefully we're getting closer and closer to 140,000 subs. That's the goal by the end of the year. So if you want to help us out and help us get one step closer, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. But yeah, I'm expecting Montreal to be a bit of a tougher circuit for us this weekend. And of course, with it being Jacques' home Grand Prix, I think he's probably going to come out the gate swinging. Well, here we are then. We've already seen Williams claim every pole position so far this season. We narrowly missed out on Monaco last weekend. Could today finally be the day we get our first pole inside this series? Of course, Niki Lauda, he did win the 1985, I want to say, World Championship. It might have been 1984, despite not taking a single pole throughout the campaign. So it's not impossible, it's not unheard of. But it certainly makes life a little bit more difficult there as Heinz-Harald Frentzen so far on this lap looking very, very racy. Like I said, I expect this weekend our car just to struggle a little bit more. But I was pleasantly surprised by the top speed it was capable of in free practice there. But Frentzen, obviously the only time a Williams has not been on the front row was Frentzen last time out in Monaco. Both myself and David Coulthard got the jump on the German, who still desperately needs to prove himself on his return to the Williams Formula 1 team there. But making our way then down in towards the wall of champion chicanes, well in excess of 200 miles an hour before we slam on the anchors at the 100-meter ball. They're nice and tidy through the curb in both on entry and on exit. Where are we going to end up on the grid though? Frentzen storms to pole. We only line up P6. Well, there we go. Williams back to fighting form at the front of the order. They're 1 and 2 on the grid for the 4th time in 5 races. But Ferrari are back. They're obviously on a power-orientated circuit like this one, and admittedly a lot of the ones coming up inside this series. Ferrari are going to be able to fight, I'm sure, back at the front of the order there. Again, Sauber looking really, really racy in P7 and P8 there. You can see ahead of a whole cluster of other cars. It's a little bit of a shame for Minardi, the fact they are pretty much as far away from arrows as arrows are from everybody else.
Bonjour! It's time once again to go racing here in Montreal, the 2nd largest French-speaking city in the world, and home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. With top speeds of around 210 miles per hour heading into the overtaking opportunity of turn 13, the 2.7 miles of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve are some of the quickest on the Formula One calendar. There are 14 corners in total, with 60% of the lap taken at full throttle, and average lap speeds clock in at about 130 miles per hour.
Well, back-to-back victories in the last couple of races, obviously coming after back-to-back P4 finishes, so I guess wherever we finish here is also where we're going to finish next time out in La Castellet. But once again then, obviously the one-stop strategy is going to be the way to go. I feel like carrying a little bit of spare fuel though here might be useful. Obviously a lot of straights, so we can use the rich revs to give ourselves the power advantage as well. But how are those Ferraris going to get on today? The first time it feels like since probably Albert Park, where they've been well and truly competitive at the front. They got a very quick car in a straight line, but nothing through the corners, as Monaco and Barcelona have recently proven. Waiting on the grid, though, for those 5 red lights here in Montreal. And it is going to be lights out, and away we go there. Both Williams get off to a fairly clean and tidy start at the front of the order. Both myself and Schumacher struggle a little bit. It's Genet. He's going to send it there in towards turn 1. Hakkinen will stay ahead of his teammate. There was Coulthard, would immediately jump up into P3, but we just seem to struggle so much off the starts in these races. We're going to very aggressively send it back down the inside of Giancarlo Fisichella there. Looks like Jos Verstappen has taken some grid penalties this weekend as well as, oh no, just snapped around the rear end. That is so annoying. It does it occasionally inside this game there, and to the back of the field we go on lap 1. Just occasionally you get those moments where the traction control just cuts the power and you go for an incredibly lazy spin. And well, for the second time in the last 3 Grand Prix then, we obviously ended up at the back of the field in Barcelona as well. We have ended up at the back once more. More painful though here, because it's going to be much more difficult to try and get back to the front. The most important thing when you end up with a moment like that is you just stay calm. You don't try and do anything stupid. You just keep the car away from any other danger, and you just try and get back on the road there. I mean, it hasn't taken us long before we've closed back up to the Menardis here. Of course, every race this season, we just seem to watch them drop away from the Arrows cars as everybody else early on. It seems like Arrows, yeah, are competitive enough. So there we go. Oh, Jarno! Why on earth would Jarno truly try and defend that? Surely he doesn't believe, well, he can keep me at bay for the remaining 33 laps or so in this Grand Prix. You can just see how slow that Minardi is in a straight line.
Between you and the car behind by a few seconds per lap.
They've just got, I mean, they've got no control over those cars when you follow them round, and they've got no straight line speed either. It's probably the worst car we've seen in this series. Already we can see, based on the fastest laps, that Villeneuve is really trying to hound his teammate Heinz-Harald Frentzen at the front of the order there. But despite the fact we're having to carve our way through traffic, we've still definitely got pace here. Montoya has often been a little bit overshadowed by Jenson Button so far this year. Of course, the only driver outside of those Menardis that hasn't scored points in the opening few Grand Prix there. As it's just this corner, we cannot. I just seem to be trying to carry too much speed into the apex, and that's making our life very difficult. And combined with the fact the Arrows actually, yeah, it's a very decently all-round package this season. I just want to try and find a way around the Colombian here. Maybe we can go for a send down into the hairpin, because we seem to have, yeah, very, very good straight line speed this weekend. But we will claim another one. There's actually, look at that, Montoya trying to come back at me on the exit. Luckily, we've got the power. You can just see we're still only the early laps in this Grand Prix, but Button really does seem to be able to kind of hang on to the coattails of a lot of other drivers here, as again, going to try and do the same thing we did to his teammate. This time around, though, try and get it slowed down onto the apex. Don't allow that switchback. And I mean, I think we should still score points here unless something wild happens. But every car is just going to be a little bit more difficult to overtake. Jaguar's another one that's been quite strong in the early races, but I think here will really suffer. And again, it's just the straight line speed that seems to be the problem there. Barrichello losing plenty of ground to my former teammate Johnny Herbert. I mean, we're hoping that Johnny Herbert's going to make my life slightly easy for me. It is such a weird feeling for the first time ever with this mod. feeling like we got good straight line speed in the car as down the inside of Herbert we will go. Again, you've kind of just got to send it into the corner so the AI don't try and switch you on the exit there, as we just nudged the wall actually on the exit of that corner there. But I mean, all our top guys trading times in the high 115s. We are not a million miles away from that, especially when we're still having to fight our way through. But I mean, this car in the opening few races was only capable of doing like 190 odd. Now it's approaching 210 down some of the straights here. Again though, the oversteer seems to be getting worse as Johnny Herbert, he will say thank you very much through the exit of turn 1. Can I try and get back down the inside? Send it. Thank you. That was scary. Well, I think our best place to make overtakes today has got to be down at the hairpin. There is down the inside of Jean Lacey. We'll have a look. Can we just get the power down on the exit? Yes, we can. So, I mean, you can just see there the AI kind of sensed that I'm going to go for it and tried to let off the brake slightly into the corner. It's just one of those things that F1 2020's AI. So can we try and have a look past Kimi Räikkönen then out of that final corner? We'll go to the outside. Luckily, we have got a good braking performance there as we get 2 wheels out over the grass. But again, we just about get it stopped. And now we've got a bit of breathing room to Ralf Schumacher and Jos Verstappen. I don't believe Jos actually had grid penalties. I think he just had a bad start. Our first lap then in clear air in this Grand Prix. What is the time gonna be? 16.2. I'm not really seeing the AI set flying laps anymore as much at the front. I don't know how kind of close they all are, or maybe they're spreading out a little bit. I also don't know how much time we're losing to them, but it's very much just the case of almost a bit like in the late 2010s with kind of Ferrari, Red Bull and Mercedes. If they pull away early on and you're not with them, they absolutely just never really get a look in. There we go, David Coulthard going to be one of the first into the pit lane then. So yeah, I mean, he's not a million miles. I mean, he's got what, about 10-15 second advantage over me early on in this race. I mean, we're just now catching up to this big train of cars as some of these guys are going to start to pit. They're trying to avoid the Wall of Champion chicane on the exit, but you just see try and get around Ralf Schumacher in towards turn 1. I've actually lost a pit stop to some of these guys. In fact, yeah, DC's come out in front of me. So we've lost an entire pit stop early on in this race there. I mean, I don't know which of those Ferraris it is as well. This coming right behind not Jos Verstappen, sorry. The other Benetton driver of Giancarlo Fisichella. But yeah, I'm surprised they pulled away that much. Down the inside of Alexander Wurz. We'll have a go then. I mean, again, that is very, very aggressive there. And Wurz will kind of see that one and switch us off the exit of the corner, though. Will throw his line off slightly, so we're able to get the power down and get around him. Jacques Villeneuve setting the new fast lap of the Grand Prix there as Coulthard trying to make some moves through some of these other slightly slower cars. Well, as Barrichello's definitely struggling a bit further down. Jan Magnussen's still flying the Jaguar flag this weekend, and what has been, yeah, a really decent resurgence so far this season. But again, I mean, I think Jan just kind of expected that one there and didn't really want to fight it. But up another one then, and hopefully we'll be able to get around Giancarlo Fisichella down in towards the final couple of corners. I think if we can get around him now, then I probably will try and dive into the pit lane as well, just to try and, you know where we're at, ready for the rest of the afternoon here. Is can we try and get a run on Fisichella here? See how much time we gain on him. Fisichella's going to try and go a little bit defensive on me there, but we are going to dive into the pit lane. I love those classic cars. In a modern Formula 1 car, there is no chance you get that slowed down there. So we've got yellow flags out. It's DC, new fastest lap. No idea who's brought out the yellow flags. But where these cars are so light, you can slow them down into the corners so easily. I don't know whether it wasn't Schumacher that's been there. I don't know who's brought out the yellows, but it's certainly still causing problems. It is Ralf Schumacher, I think. Yep, Schumacher's out, and we got a safety car. That is terrible timing for me. Well, what this does do is it allows both of those Williams to get a bit of a free pit stop here, as I don't think either of them had pit yet, and hopefully we're going to get the undercut, I guess, on a few other drivers as well, so we shouldn't be out in too much traffic. There's everybody else making their way through the pit lane. What it also does is obviously bunches up all of our front runners, so we'll gain quite a few or sorry, quite a lot of time out of it, as we're back up into P8. Well, as we're just over half distance then when the safety car is going to be peeling back in. Jacques Villeneuve still leads the way ahead of Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard there, but yeah, that safety car kind of came at a very good time. We'd already moved past all of, well, pretty much everybody else apart from your big four teams. So now obviously we've just got a chance to try and chase once again here as Villeneuve leading his home Grand Prix through those final couple of corners. I've been really caught out as we try and get the jump on the restart there. Luckily, we're not going to be under too much pressure from the cars behind. But what are Sauber going to be able to do in the second half of this race? Obviously took podiums back at Bahrain and at Spain. Should have obviously had a podium last time out of Monaco as well. So it would have been 3 podiums in a row for the Sauber organisation. Both Marc Genet and Jos Verstappen really seem to be able to maximise everything in that car right now. Maybe they could be a championship threat if things go wrong for Villeneuve and I. Well, Jos Verstappen just broke a little bit earlier there than I was expecting him to, so we will have to rather forcibly send it down the inside. But up into P7 we'll go then of this race there, as I think Frentzen might be having some issues. He cannot keep up with Ferrari's teammate and his teammate here, so already, yeah, we're just starting to see a little bit of a gap forming between Frentzen and our top 4. So is that going to leave him vulnerable that maybe we can try and go for a move? As Villeneuve again just pulling away at the front of the order. The braking performance of this car is just second to none. But when you're close behind the AI, I'm just so scared it's going to catch us out. Well, there we go then, right up behind Marc Genet as well. I think we all know what's coming next. Down the inside. Don't run into the back of Frentzen. That was so close there. Well, on the exit of the corner, we'll get the power down. So, I mean, the Saubers on paper should be the easiest ones to navigate out of this group. They're pretty quick now, but they're not quite as quick as everybody else. They are in a straight line, though. See Genet actually taking time out of me, so that thing must be getting close to 210 miles an hour. And, well, Ferrari power clearly paying dividends as well there. Frentzen, though, needs to try and get the hammer down. Of course, I'm sure his team will be telling him, try and keep us at bay as best as he can. Tell you what, watching Frentzen going round right now, he might still be able to make it a Williams 1-2. As we've lost another driver then from this Grand Prix. It's not one of our big hitters, though, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. In fact, I think that might be Kimi Räikkönen that is out of this Grand Prix. But yeah, Frentzen, he is flying along at the moment. Just this turnaround of pace suddenly. Now we've gotten away from the Saubers. And now, yeah, it's the battle of the Germans just in front. But I think Frentzen's going to get the jump on Schumacher pretty soon. Is he going to be able to do it down in towards turn 1? Not quite close enough. Oh, Schumacher! Schumacher now locks up. Ferrari, the bottles are happening late on in the day there, and somehow Frentzen not able to make the move happen just yet. He's surely going to try and have a look past him, though, down the end of this straight there. I mean, these two battling as we almost go into them there. This has been so much fun to watch. I just want to try and find a way around them before the end of the afternoon there. But Frentzen, he's just got to try and chuck one up the inside somewhere to scare the German. But, I mean, yeah, we don't see many mechanical failures inside this series. Ultimately because most of the time the cars have crashed out before the engines can brake. But, yeah, both the Williams and the Ferrari still a little bit quicker than us in a straight line. We definitely still need to work on powertrain upgrades, as Schumacher again slow out of that final corner. But Italian horsepower just seems to be a little bit better than German. Oh, Frentzen definitely now seems to be struggling once again in that car, so he seems to be so confidence-based inside this series at the moment. And just after a couple of little moments with Schumacher there, his rival now really just starting to struggle towards the end of the race. Every single lap, I sort of think, oh, maybe we could have a look down the inside of someone there, but it just doesn't seem to work for us. But yeah, Frentzen now dropping away from Michael Schumacher, so he's going to go in and try and pursue our teammate David Coulthard. Meanwhile, all this going on behind, Jacques Villeneuve has just had clear running since the safety car restart. He's only got 5 laps to go, and he will become, I believe, the first ever winner in Canada. Obviously, well, sorry, since his dad, of course, won the Canadian Grand Prix back in, I think, 79? but I could be wrong. Well, definitely our best chance to try and go for a move on Frentzen is down at these first couple of corners. I think he's just worked those tyres too hard and he's really struggling there as we'll try and have a look around the outside through turn 2. Can we try and put the power down on the exit? Yes, we can. And will we be able to get the long way round? Oh, big moment of oversteer there just to scare him into submission. But finally, we are up into P4. We've got just over 1 lap left to go there, and I think what's actually happened is the Williams here just cannot look after their tyres. Coulthard has closed onto the back of Jacques Villeneuve. Schumacher not a million miles away from either of them. Unless that's a lapped car that I'm looking at. I think it is. Oh, damn it. Oh, 1 lap to go, and it's the Minardi we've caught, not Jacques Villeneuve there. I really thought we could have been in for quite an exciting battle. Either way, yeah, Frentzen has really dropped away towards the end of this one, back in towards the clutches of Marc Genet there. But yeah, it's Jarno Trulli in the way, not Jacques Villeneuve there. So yeah, the Canadian, he has absolutely dominated this one and looks like he's set on claiming his 2nd Grand Prix victory of the year. And just reminding everybody, the last few races might not have gone his way, but yeah, when that Williams car gets it hooked up, they are easily the fastest on the grid there, as we're going to try and navigate Jarno Trulli without too many problems. Always got to be careful because the AI will let you by and then try and dive bomb you into the very next corner there. But yeah, we saw obviously his dad win here so many years ago, a circuit that I believe obviously bears his name as well, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, of course. But this weekend, it is going to be his son, Jacques Villeneuve, who's going to walk away with the victory here in Montreal. The Williams driver out of the final chicane, up towards the line. That is going to be a hugely popular win here. David Coulthard comes through for P2. Michael Schumacher gets his first podium. For us, it is P4.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Canadian Grand Prix, and Jacques Villeneuve, like we said, that'll be a hugely popular win up and down the paddock there. David Coulthard in P2, ahead of Schumacher and myself there. Frentzen did just hang on ahead of both of those Saubers, with Fisichella, Raikkonen and Alexander Wurz rounding out your top 10. So yeah, big points for Kimi there. Did a really good job in his BAR car. Just Hakkinen, Button and Ralf Schumacher that all failed to see the checkered flag. What does that mean though to our championship standings? Well, it means our gap at the top has been slashed to just 13 points ahead of Jacques there. DC now ahead of Marc Genet, with Frentzen still in P5 ahead of Ralf Schumacher there. Michael, like we said, his first big points of the year, gets himself up inside the top 10 there as well, jumping past a lot of drivers further down the order. Even with those points though, Raikkonen still only in P17. Constructors wise though, again, Williams do take a few points out of us there. The gap down to just 24, with Sauber and Jordan still ahead of Ferrari, Jaguar and Benetton there. I mean, look at that, 4 teams covered by less than 10 points. That could be a really, really interesting fight over the course of the season. BAR, they're taking points out of Arrows. It could still be that Arrows end up finishing in P9 by the end of the year. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the French Grand Prix.